We are about to start our regularly scheduled council meeting. Within roll call.
Mayor Joseph,
Here.
Vice Mayor Bien-Aimé,
Here.
Councilman Desormeaux,
Here.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Councilwoman Keys.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Now we'll stand up for Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will remain standing for invocation by our Commander Benson. Benson.
Let's all bow. Father in heaven, we thank you for all your blessings. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for allowing us to gather together this evening to carry out the business of the great city of North Miami. We hope and pray that everything said and done in this room will move us closer toward being a greater city. We hope that everything will be said will move us toward our goals, and everyone will be respectful and spread love between us all. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Mr. Manager, I understand there are some changes to the agenda before we proceed.
Yes, sir. We need to move, we have to have a public hearing for tabs G and tab H.
G,
They can't hear.
I'm talking into the mic.
G and H.
G and H need to be public hearings, so I'd like for those to be removed from the consent agenda and heard as public hearing items. And also have a request to have tab M heard immediately following the approval of the consent agenda.
Okay. So at this time, these are the only changes we have. If so, then the agenda is set and we will continue with some special presentations.
Oh, special presentation. You say special presentation?
That's what it says.
Okay,
There are two of them.
okay. Carol.
There is a special presentation by the North Miami Youth Football and Cheer Incorporated. Mm-hmm. Oh, this both are one thing? Mm-hmm. To whom? Okay.
Good afternoon, distinguished councilmen and councilwomen, mayor. We wanted to thank you for allowing us this time to make this presentation. At this time, on behalf of the North Miami Youth Football and Cheer Inc., we would like to present Councilman Scott Galvin with this trophy. It's a plaque, actually, a beautiful plaque, and if I may, I will read it, and this is on behalf of the donations that he gave, which helped our youth football teams go to the national championship, which was an exciting event for them. Many of them have never traveled outside of Florida, and, well, outside of Miami specifically. So we went up to near Orlando, and they played and had a wonderful time. So we appreciate the support. The plaque reads, Scott Galvin, North Miami City Council, District 1. The North Miami Youth Football and Cheer Inc. would like to thank you for helping our organization fulfill our mission and promote the ideals of responsibility, hard work, sportsmanship, teamwork, and fellowship, 2019. And then we have one more, if you would indulge us for another quick moment. We would like to present Larry M. Spring Jr., City Manager, as well as Chief Larry Jariga, thank you, Jariga, who may not be here today, but he's here. Oh, wonderful, I didn't see you back there. Oh, okay, I'm like, wait, I didn't see you. Nice. Yes, well, nice to see you, and thank you for accepting this on his behalf. For both of them, we wanted to honor them today because they have always supported our mission, and we greatly appreciate them, and our team would not be what it is today without the support of the City of North Miami as a whole, but also these wonderful individuals in front of you. So I'm gonna read this really, really quick. It says, Larry M. Spring Jr., CPA, North Miami City Manager. The North Miami Youth Football and Cheer Inc. would like to thank you for helping our organization fulfill our mission and promote the ideals of responsibility, hard work, sportsmanship, teamwork, and fellowship for 2019. And the Chiefs also says the same thing. So, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for accepting this.
Speaking of youth football programs, and I apologize, the voice is coming back, but it's still not 100%. I grew up playing football in our youth programs here in North Miami at Cagney Park and at Pepper Park, Gratney Elementary. So the football programs that I was able to support, really it's the whole city that is behind what you all do as volunteers in the community. And I'm very, very thankful and blessed that you thought enough of all of us to make that presentation tonight. So thank you. Out of all my years on council, it's probably one of the nicest awards I've ever got. So, but there was a young man that I used to coach when I was a coach in the city's football program. He is our outgoing city clerk, Michael Etienne. So I'd like to make a special presentation to Mr. Etienne, who, oh, there he is. Michael, come on forward. It is apropos that we make this presentation tonight since we're sort of taking the legacy and bringing it forward. This award says, since 2011, the Office of the City Clerk has generated over $1,125,000 in passport revenue, which is not to be underestimated. In 2014 and 17, the U.S. Department of State awarded the clerk's office an award for providing exemplary service to the community. As such, the City of North Miami would like to acknowledge the Honorable Michael A. Etienne, Esquire, for contributing to the accomplishments of the North Miami City Clerk's Office from 2011 to 2019. Michael.
I thought it was only fitting and appropriate that Councilman Galvin who's the longest serving elected official we currently have here in the city of North Miami, give this award. And he was one of my Pee Wee coaches growing up here in the city of North Miami. And I want to thank the mayor and council, of course, Councilman Galvin, for the support they've given the clerk's office. And again, I can't take credit all this. It's just not only me. I had remarkable staff, and Fonzie Daniels, Gertie Genosier, Raphael Patron, Cheryl Scott, Sarah Barrett. I mean, we've had a remarkable staff over the past 8 years, and I have to credit them for this accomplishment as well. But thank you so much, Councilman Galvin, and all the other mayor and council who supported me over the past 8 years. And North Miami, I love you all, and thank you. What's so funny, Alex? I got in trouble last time I did that.
All right. City announcements.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. I'm Unicia Baker, Senior Public Information Officer, and I'm here to share some of our city's upcoming events, programs, and initiatives with you. Thinking about starting or expanding your business? Well, join the City of North Miami staff as they discuss the ins and outs of doing business with the City of North Miami on Wednesday, April 24th from 6 to 8 p.m. The workshop will take place at Nomi Bar and Grill that's located at 738 Northeast 125th Street here in North Miami. Saturday, April 27th at 8 p.m. at Ben Franklin Park, join Councilwoman Carol Keys Esquire and Stonyfield Organic at the 2019 Green Awareness Fair and Recycling event. This event will include free paper shredding services, electronic waste disposal, green awareness demonstrations, plus opportunities to earn volunteer hours through several community cleanup projects. All ages are welcome. Kids can also win cash prizes by entering this year's art contests. Details about the event, volunteer registration, and the art contest can be found at northmiamifl.gov/celebrate. North Miami Mayor Dr. Smith Joseph will host the 2019 reverse raffle to benefit the Police Athletic League of North Miami. For a cost of $150 per ticket, a buffet dinner for two, open bar, and one raffle entry can be purchased. Announcements will take place this Saturday, April 27th at 6 p.m. at the Joe Celestine Center. There will be 11 $500 winners, 3 $1,000 winners, and 1 $10,000 winner. Purchase tickets on Eventbrite. Tuesday, April 30th from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m., the Friends of the North Miami Public Library will be welcoming over 24 cool readers to participate in a continuous reading marathon. Guests will also be video recorded reading their favorite children's book. Part of the readathon will be live streamed on the library's Facebook page. All are invited to join us for back-to-back readings of our favorite children's books. May is Haitian Heritage Month. North Miami Mayor Dr. Smith Joseph will kick off the month on May 1st with the celebration that begins at 5 p.m. at the intersection of Northwest 7th Avenue and 125th Street. It will be a street naming ceremony in honor of Haitian musician and political activist Joseph Mono Charlemagne. May 1st at 6 p.m., Mayor Joseph's celebration will shift to the Mocha Plaza for an evening of live compa performances by Bemal, A La Mode, and Weedham Zoes. Plus, a history corner, food from various regions of Haiti, and an opening of Mocha's Port-au-Prince art exhibit. The mayor will also present keys to the city to Jean-Marie Dennis, a.k.a. Jean Mapo, a Haitian author, curator, community activist, and historian, along with Dr. Henry Ford. He's the dean of the Miller School of Medicine. Thursday, May 2nd, it's National Day of Prayer. Join Councilman Alex Dezume and the Southern Conference of Seven-Day Adventists for an interfaith breakfast to pray for our community. This event will take place at the Joe Celestine Center at 8 a.m. Thursday, May 2nd at 6 p.m., meet Vice Mayor Philippe Bien-Aimé and the North Miami CRA for the current at the current Griffin Community Center for the Griffin Community Center Design Workshop. Residents will be able to provide input, ideas, and suggestions regarding the facility's future uses, along with the design of a new and improved Griffin Community Center. The Nomi Library is celebrating Haitian Heritage Month on Friday, May 3rd at 6 p.m. with the reception and unveiling of Haiti and Island Luminous Kiosk. The kiosk combines rare books, manuscripts, and photos scanned by archives in Haiti and the United States with commentary by over 100 authors from universities around the world. The North Miami Education Foundation Incorporated scholarship applications are now being accepted. The deadline is extended to Friday, May 3rd. The foundation awards scholarships to applicants who are North Miami residents who are economically disadvantaged high school graduates. Applications are available on northmiamifl.gov/students. Saturday, May 4th at 9 a.m., get to Nomi and hop on the Nomi shuttle for a party on wheels. The Nomi Express Weekend Takeover will occur in celebration of the shuttle's new weekend routes. The inaugural weekend ride will include stops at Target and Publix on Biscayne Boulevard, along with the Thomas Sasso Pool. The ride takes off from City Hall. Tuesday, the North Miami Police Department invites you to join them Tuesday, May 7th at 9 a.m. for the annual Police Memorial Ceremony. The somber affair is in honor of Sergeant Carl W. Meters, Detective Sergeant Stephen E. Bauer, and Sergeant Lynette Hodge, 3 NMPD heroes lost in the line of duty. Friday, May 10th at noon, join the North Miami Police Department at the Joe Celestine Center for a badge pinning ceremony and promotional ceremony. The Taste of Haiti returns to North Miami at 12 noon until 7 p.m. on Saturday, May 11th. Join the City of North Miami and the Haitian Culinary Alliance at this highly anticipated event, which promotes and introduces Haitian cuisine and cultural richness to neighbors and friends in the South Florida community. The North Miami general election is around the corner. Early voting is April 29th through May 12th at the North Miami Public Library. Election day is Tuesday, May 14th. Elections are administered by the Miami-Dade County Elections Department in partnership with the North Miami Office of the Clerk. For more information, visit northmiamifl.gov/elections. Stay up to date with the latest happenings in the city of North Miami by visiting northmiamifl.gov. Then click Connect with the Connect with Nomi icon on the homepage, where you can sign up to receive our monthly Nomi newsletters. Residents may also like the City of North Miami on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And this concludes today's announcements.
Thank you very much, Ms. Baker. The consent agenda has been amended or modified to omit tabs G and H.
Correct. Mr. Mayor, can we remove tab C?
Tab C.
On the agenda.
You want tab C for discussion?
Yes.
Okay, so there will be C, G, and H to be omitted out of the consent agenda for discussion. And within a, right? No, not omitted. I mean, just to take them out of the consent.
No, tab B. Tab B, sorry.
B as in boy?
Yes, sorry. Not tab C.
So are you removing B for a vote, or are you moving
No,
for discussion?
For discussion.
Okay, so that should be treated differently than with the managers, the two that the manager removed. So the two that the manager
You will
removed
be a separate,
full on, public hearing.
Public hearing and
B will
everything.
just be for discussion.
Okay, cool. All right, with that, we need a motion.
So just to be clear, you're voting for B now, or you're just going to pull it for discussion?
Right?
No,
we're not voting for B. We are voting for the consent agenda without C, without
So
B.
do you want to have the discussion on B now?
No, we
and
want to
then-
vote on the consent, and we put
And then do B afterward.
as an item by himself.
The thing is, then it can't be on consent if you've already voted for consent.
We are remove it from the consent.
That's what I asked. Are you removing it for consent?
That's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, for a vote, yeah.
For a vote?
Yeah.
We already passed the consent.
No, sir.
No,
what I'm
we-
saying is, if you want to take it out for discussion, have the discussion, and then put it back in the consent, and then vote on consent.
No,
You
we're
can
not
do
gonna
that
put
way.
it back.
If you're saying you're taking it out, and then you're gonna have public comment on it. then-
Yes.
Okay, then it'll be treated like all
As
the other
G and
ones.
H.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can mine be first? Because I have to go.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, B, M will be first after the consent agenda.
Okay.
With that, we need a motion of the consent agenda without tabs B, G, and H.
So move.
Second. I have a motion made by Councilman Desormeaux to approve the consent agenda without tab
B, G, and H. That motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Consent agenda passes 5-0. Tab M. Proposed ordinance, second reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, providing for text amendments to chapter 29 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Land Development Regulations by amending Article 4, Division 2, entitled Zoning Districts, specifically at section 4-203, entitled Minimum Standards and Development, to include additional setback, restricting uses, and increasing buffering, and limiting building orientation and height requirements for certain M1 zone parcels, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and for an effective date. That's tab M.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Conflict, so I'm going to excuse myself for this item.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any further staff presentations?
We did it.
Any more?
I
We
mean,
did it before.
any further?
Yeah.
No, nothing more. So at this time, we'll open it to the public. Public hearing is now open for tab M as in mother. If anyone wishes to be heard for this in this item, please come to the microphone now. But I see none, hear none. Public hearing is therefore closed. Members of the dais.
So move for approval, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Desormeaux to approve tab M. That motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Bien-Aimé. Going to roll call. Mayor Joseph, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Bien-Aimé, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Desormeaux, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Item passes 4-0.
Now we can call the
Tab B.
we can call Councilwoman to come back in. Tab B as in boy.
Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida. I'm sorry. A city I'm sorry.
Why you keep tapping?
Proposed resolution of the proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager, city attorney, and the city clerk to take all necessary action and to execute all documents affecting the health, safety, and welfare of the city until the next regular scheduled council meeting with the quorum or July 9th, 2019, whichever occur first, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. That's tab B.
I have a question on that.
Open it to the public.
Any staff? No? Nothing? Nothing from staff, so we open it to the public. Public hearing is open for tab B.
Okay, Jim, ready?
Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive. I've been a resident of this city since April of 1972. On and off. I've been paying my mom's taxes since 1982 on her property. Why don't we have a city council meeting right after the elections when it finalized on June 4th? Why are we waiting until July? Where is the CAFA that we were promised? Last year you put the CAFA on the April meeting. It was April 24, 2018. We don't have a CAFA, well, I understand. There's no CAFA on the agenda. There won't be no CAFA for the voters to look at the upcoming elections. And we won't hear nothing until, well, I see July.
Jessica Austin, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. I want to know, are there any other scheduled events that are to occur during this time when the council will not be meeting? And if so, is it possible to make another provision rather than just giving the manager, the clerk, and the attorney the authority to make this decision on behalf of the entire city? That's my question.
Does that preclude from any member from calling any emergency meeting if it's needed? Okay.
Miss, are we done with the?
Well, public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor, and I don't see the purpose of this resolution because, as stated in our code, that's been today it's our second monthly meeting, and we have a meeting set for the 14th and the 29th of May. Our code stated exactly what need to be done on May 14 and on May 29. If for some reason there is an emergency, we always can call for an emergency meeting. But that's the purpose of, since we're not in recess, we are doing business as usual. I don't see why we have to give the city manager and the city attorney authority to take action on our behalf, since I know, Mr. Mayor, you and the charter of the city stated clearly that your term is end on the 4th Tuesday of May, or if there is a one-off, is in June. That means you're still the mayor of the city, and we are still city council. I don't see why that tab B, because we're not in recess, and I don't see why we have to pass on our authority to the city's administration. I don't see the purpose of that, and I don't think this should even be on the agenda, because we've been having election every 2 years, and we never take those actions that mean giving you the authority to decide for us. And I don't see where you got that from, guys.
Okay, with that we will welcome a motion, or if there is any further discussion, I don't know.
Just a motion. I make a motion to table tab B, Mr. Mayor.
Before, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is the intent? Because now that I'm paying attention to the particular item, who put it on, you or the manager or the attorney? Which one?
I put the item on the agenda.
Okay, what's the intent?
The intent simply is when we started looking at the schedule for the election, because we won't have a meeting on the election date itself. We won't know if there's runoffs or things for the May 28th meeting, so we didn't know what would be there. So
I know, but even though if there is a runoff, that the charter states that we are still.
You're still there.
Oh, okay. So okay,
and that's why the language says quorum or. So if you have the meeting and you have it, there's no effect to this.
No,
So-
and Councilman Desulme and Mr. Mayor and Mr. City Manager, the law said exactly what need to be done on May 14. We are going to have council meeting, but it give us the agenda. We have the result of the election. That's what need to be done on that day. And on the 20th, the 4th Tuesday of May, stated exactly what need to be done. In the meantime, if there's any emergency, we're not in recess, because we are conducting our usual council meeting. And he stated exactly we can call for an emergency meeting if there is something that need to be discussed, but we don't have to give you authority because we are there. We're not in recess. It's not recess.
Vice Mayor, that's fine. We were doing this in abundance of caution.
Okay.
Yeah, we never done that when it comes to
Well,
election. When we are in recess, yes, I do understand. We are in recess. but we never done that.
So this item is considered null and void.
No.
Okay.
Hmm?
No, we're not gonna.
I'll second your motion.
Okay.
Are we
To
voting?
remove it.
Okay. To remove or table?
Go ahead. Go.
Remove.
Okay. All right.
It's null and void.
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Bien-Aimé to remove tab B. That motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keith. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0.
Now we go to tab G. Is it G?
G. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the attached water facilities plan for the city of North Miami water distribution system and storage system evaluation to address financial and environmental issues relating to the proposed Winson water treatment plant improvement so as to obtain funding from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, FDEP, State Revolving Fund, SRF, in accordance with with Florida law, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab G.
Before I hand the mic over to staff, Mr. Mayor, through the mayor, just wanted to let you know procedurally, we're gonna have one presentation that covers both G and H, and then we just open up the public hearing. So just wanted to do that procedural thing.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Whistler Pierre Lewis, Public Works Director. The item that you have before you is a drinking water facilities plan and the financial impact that this plan will have on the users. The hearing is intended to afford the opportunity to individuals to be heard on the economic and social effects of the location, design, and environmental impact of the water system improvements. Staff is recommending that the council adopt the proposed FDEP SRF drinking water facility plan, which addresses the city's Winson water treatment plant improvements. Approving this resolution will allow the city's Public Works Department to comply with the FDEP regulatory requirements and also allow the city to obtain low-interest loan funding through the FDEP SRF program for construction. The construction funding request is a total of $19,443,100. It includes the construction costs, construction contingency, project allowance, and technical services associated with this request. Just for a little legislative history, Council has supported similar items in the past. In 2012, resolution number 2012 R57 was for the filter rehab, which is the first phase of this project. And the second item that was approved was resolution number 2018, which was just last year, R35, and that was the loan application for the filter project. The filter project is now substantially complete, and approving this will allow us to stay in compliance with Chapter 24 of our code, our operating permit, which is permit number PW00014, and the South Florida Water Use Permit number 13-0059-W. I have with me, as the manager mentioned, our consultant from Hazen and Sawyer. We have Ms. Marta Alonso. She will provide more information concerning the drinking water facilities plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Marta Alonso. I'm an associate with Hazen and Sawyer, and I'm going to briefly discuss the facilities plans that we prepared for the city in order to fulfill the FDEP loan requirements. We will begin with a brief introduction of the requirements from the DEP to conduct this hearing. We will continue with a brief review of the drinking water and clean water facilities plans, and we will conclude with an opportunity for questions and comments once the presentation is complete. So the city of North Miami, as Whistler mentioned, is currently seeking infrastructure funding from the DEP State Revolving Fund. which provides low-interest loans to local governments to plan, design, and build or upgrade drinking water systems as part of the Drinking Water SRF program, and wastewater and stormwater projects as part of the Clean Water SRF plan. Should be noted that the interest rates on these loans are significantly below market rates, and thus result in significant savings to the city of North Miami when compared to bonds or other types of loans. As Whistler mentioned, the Drinking Water Facilities Plan covers the Winston Water Treatment Plant Rehabilitation Project. The plant was commissioned in 1962, and thus the equipment at the plant has reached the end of its useful life. The proposed project will update and modernize the facility, extend its useful life, and provide continuous regulatory compliance. The elements that are included in the project are depicted in this slide, and a site plan is provided that depicts those improvements. As required by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, 3 alternatives were considered for the execution of this project. The first alternative is the selected alternative, which is the water treatment plant rehabilitation. It's a $23 million project that will rehab the plant. It includes storage tanks, and it's a viable alternative with no adverse environmental impacts due to the fact that the improvements are proposed on previously cleared areas. The alternative number 2 that was considered is the construction of a new water treatment plant, which was considered not cost effective and does not make use of the existing facilities. So it was considered a non-viable alternative. Alternative number 3 is the no action alternative. It's a zero cost alternative, but does not address the need to replace aging infrastructure. The Clean Water Facilities Plan covers the infiltration and inflow reduction project. The City of North Miami is a volume sewer customer of the Miami-Dade Water and Sewer Department and must thus comply with the ordinance enforced by Miami-Dade RER. The sanitary sewer basins must operate with INI levels of less than 5,000 gallons per day, inch diameter miles. And as such, the city is proposing a $6 million investment to perform corrections in these basins exceeding the threshold. For informational purposes, infiltration is when groundwater enters through defective manholes and pipes, as depicted in this slide, and inflow occurs when water enters the sanitary sewer system during a rain event. This slide also depicts the improvements that are proposed for the INI reduction project, which include the lining, the replacement, and the repair of sewer pipes, as well as the repair of manholes, etc. As required by the FDEP, the number 1 alternative that we reviewed was the infiltration and inflow repair that we are proposing. It corrects exceedances in 2 target sanitary sewer basins. It is a cost-effective solution with no environmental impacts. The second alternative that was considered was replacing pipe, which is not as cost-effective. It's a lot more expensive, as depicted here from a recent bid that the city received, and it does not correct infiltration and inflow most effectively. The third alternative is the no-action alternative. It's a zero-cost alternative, but does not correct the exceedances of the RER limit, and therefore does not satisfy the project need. Lastly, this is where we are in the DEP loan process. The city has submitted requests for inclusion for both projects, for the DEP to include these projects in their budget. The facilities plan for the proposed projects has been prepared. The public hearing is currently being held at the city council meeting, and it will be followed by regulatory agency review. And once the review and approval is received, the city will be applying for a loan. The loan will be executed, the project will be implemented, and once the project has been completed, the loan will have to be repaid. And with that, if there are any questions or comments?
Nope. Pardon me? What? Yeah, but you have to wait.
This process we're doing now, this $19 million, is this in addition to the $23 million rehab we're doing on the plant? Is it concurrent? Is it part of that rehab, or this is something totally different?
Through the manager, it is inclusive of it. It's the same dollar amount to do the repairs to the water plant. It's not a new or an additional amount. It's the same $20 million that we have always been mentioning.
So this is the water plant repair we've been
Yes.
talking about for how many years?
Since 2008.
Yeah, okay. So this is not something new, this is just a continuation of getting this repair done?
Yes.
Okay,
yes, it
thank you.
is.
All right, public hearing is now open.
Lure Hill, 13075 Griffin Boulevard. I'm absolutely 100% in favor of these loans. I would ask if we took option 1 for the 23 million, how long will that upgrade last? What is the lifespan of that? Because it's clear with the saltwater intrusion that's happening all over South Florida that eventually we will have to create a new system, a water system. But if we could get away with the 23 million upgrade and start saving money for tomorrow, when we're going to need to put in something as large as 162 million, then that would be a smart way to go. All over North Miami, people are talking about issues that are facing them right now with all the elections going on, and number 1 is water, sewage, infrastructure upgrades. This should have been a bond in itself. And we've been dealing with this problem from 2008, and here we are. And you don't have to tell me about the problems that come up. I just last week, finished fixing up my house from a major, major, major spill of sewage that was not my fault. So I'm 100% in favor of upgrading our systems, and maybe we could pay for them if we didn't have a party for everything. In the events this morning, when we first got here, we talked about the bus getting a new weekend route. We're going to have a celebration for that. We have 2 new routes, and we're going to have a party for that. If we didn't have so many parties and events, maybe we could have spent some of this money and these trips and all of these things on some upgrades for sewage. I'm disappointed to see that we've been working on this since 2008, and now here we are with a system that's about to break down. This is absolutely the priority, and I hope everybody listens to that very carefully before it's too late. Thank you.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street in Sunkist Grove. I was just wondering, because there was no mention of conservation in this project, or any thought about the impact, or will it have an impact on customer water bills? That is one of the chief complaints of the citizens here in the city of North Miami. There was no mention of that. I don't know, I'm not a person in this, but it seems to me water is water. And there was no mention of that. I have a concern for that. In the upgrade of the system, is it going to upgrade the taste of drinking water? So those were questions that were that I had in my mind that were not addressed, and I think that there should have been a pre-citizen forum about this before coming to the council today about this and asking for citizen input without prior knowledge. Thank you.
Good evening, Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive. This issue has been around since 1980. I remember Councilman Marco Lofredo Sr. sponsoring the resolution to raise our water rates and to take the money and to put it towards improving the plant. I congratulate the city administration for finding a fiscal responsible way to do this through water and sewer revenue and to save us money on the interest costs. However, Mrs. Hill does make a good point about how long can we do with this plant until saltwater intrusion. Number 2, Mayor Burns talked about osmosis, and he tried to get us a federal grant back in 2008 when President Obama came aboard. I think we need to start tackling, besides the water plant, we need to start tackling the main from Northeast 4th Avenue down to 14th Avenue, between 128th Street to 121st Street. That's the oldest part of the city, the main, we need to tackle that before we do the streets and the sidewalks and the lights. The streets, the pipes before the streets and the sidewalks. We need to start tackling the issues in this city. And one of them is water and sewer, because that powers everything else in this city. That gives you the revenue, and it allows you for new business to come in here and to grow up. We need to start tackling this instead of focusing on other energies, on other things, secondary, third, fourth, and fifth rank. We don't know how to rank our priorities in this city.
William Previtel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. I'd like to speak in favor of this. I agree that it would be nice to take advantage of low-interest loans while they're available through any government agencies and such. I think we don't have a fully packed house because the systems have not gone down. The minute that our water system or our sanitary system goes down, possibly following a hurricane, possibly all on its own, you would have a ton of people here and a real situation on our hands. This is something that benefits everyone. The money that's spent will, in the long run, be saved by the citizens, who will then be able to have drinking water as opposed to importing water and bottled water and any other measures. It's something that sort of pays for itself, and it gives peace of mind to the entire city for a long time to come. So on behalf of the citizens who don't even know this is an issue, we ask that you support this and get this underway as soon as possible. We have many other things that we look forward to addressing, and to have this out of the way would really be great. Thank you.
Good evening, Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. You know why we don't have a ton of people here? Because it was on the consent agenda. It was on the consent agenda, not for public hearings. Thank you.
All right. Public hearing is closed. Further discussions?
Can I say something? Can I have some questions? Wislek, please, can you stand and you present, in your presentation, it seems like it's a new project to the city, and it's a new loan. Can you elaborate on that?
Through the mayor, this is not a new project. This is the same project we've been working on for over 10 years. This is, however, a new phase. There are two packages. We're completing one bid package right now, which is the filter rehab. There are two additional ones. One is for 2 new storage tanks, and the other one is for the remainder of the water plant. So what the state did is that they gave us a loan for the part of the project, or the
total
bid
amount
package.
of the project, it's how much?
Total, including the filters, is roughly $25 million.
Okay, where did the 38 million come from?
The 38 million?
Mm-hmm. You're not talking about the SRF loan, the revolving loan from the state for the water treatment? It was a total of $38 million?
No, the presentation and the council report shows roughly $20 million.
$20 million that you have right now?
That we're requesting from the state to complete the next 2 phases.
Okay, your request is $20 million?
Yes, my request is, yes.
How much did you request before?
Before, we requested about $4 million, which we're working on completing our project now.
How much is the total loan?
In total, it's about $25 million.
That's what it is?
We're only going to borrow what we need to complete the project. I've seen other numbers that I don't know if those were prior discussions before I got here about I've seen a $38 million.
I think the revolving loan was 38 million, and it's a different phases. It's like 7, 8 phases. That means the project have started since when? Since 2012, 13, right?
No, the first phase started last year, the filter project.
That
We
was
are
the f-
completing that project right now.
Okay, that's the first phase.
That's the first phase.
That's
yes,
mean
sir.
out of that money, you didn't do anything in 2013, anything in 2014.
No, they only gave us the loan, as I mentioned, Resolution 2018 R35, that was the first loan that we submitted a loan application for, and it was for the filter project.
Okay.
That was last year.
When did you apply for the SRF fund loan? When did you apply for it?
We applied for the SRF loan last year.
No?
There are multiple SRF loans. There are multiple applications that have been submitted. We have water and we have sewer. However, concerning this
I'm talking
item,
about the not just this item. I'm talking about the entire project, water and sewer project for the water plant.
we have one loan currently, which is for the filter project, which is approximately
That's
$4
before
million.
the filter. You didn't do anything.
Not for the water plant. No.
Where did you find the money to taking care of those residents that you moved, that you purchased those property? You wasn't a part of that loan?
That was not an SRF loan.
What was it?
Through the manager, I think when we did purchase the homes, that was money that we had built up, or that was either the CIF money, I think I'm almost
We
positive
probably
the
used
CIF
utility,
money.
right.
I can't. What did it stand for?
Capital Improvement Fund.
Capital improvement fee. We did. We charged each resident, each
The
water
finance
resident.
director want to say something?
No,
No.
they weren't here for that.
Okay.
So that was, I think, the purchase of the homes and some work that we did, some basic work we did several years ago that you're referring to was taken out of the CIF funding to do those items, and that's totally separate from the SRF funding. Before we were collecting the CIF money, we were planning on funding our own water plant back during that time. The CIF became available as a better funding source for us to borrow the money at a lower thing, so we stopped with the CIF funding. I think that might have been back in about 2012, 2013. We stopped the CIF funding. Currently, we still do have the CIF funding. Somewhere along the lines of $7 million is still, I believe, in the budget from last year. So we still have the CIF money, but I think that's where the confusion is. We did some work with the CIF money. Now, this is
What's the
referring to
difference
now.
between those two money?
The difference?
The CIF, yeah.
The CIF money was an added fee that we added on to the water bills over the course. I want to say, I think it was 2 or 3 years that we were collecting money. That's when, again, the plan was for us to fund our own water plant back then. When that plan changed with the availability of the SRF funding, we stopped charging that fee and moved toward doing this, I believe, sir.
Okay, and do you have the total amount of the upgrading of the water plant?
The total amount is approximately $25 million.
Okay.
All right. Any other comment or concerns?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve tab G. That motion was seconded by Mayor Joseph. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 4-0. Tab H, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the attached clean water facilities plan for the city of North Miami sanitary sewer master plan and second cycle sanitary sewer evaluation survey facilities plan, and further authorizing the city manager and the city attorney to do all things necessary to implement the facilities plan in order to obtain available funding from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection State Revolving Fund, SRF, in accordance with the Florida law, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab H.
Mayor and Council, Whistler Pierre Lewis, Public Works Director. This is a similar item to the one that was read before. This is, however, for the sewer plan. Staff is recommending that council adopt the FDP SRF loan application for improvements to our wastewater collection system. Approving this resolution will allow the city's Public Works Department to comply with FDP regulatory requirements and also allow the city to obtain low-interest loan funding through the FDP SRF loan program for the construction. The SRF funding request is for sanitary sewer repairs, and the cost estimate is approximately $6 million. Thank you.
All right, we'll open it to the public. Tab H is open for public hearing.
Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive. This is an important issue in South Florida because water is life, as Gordon Graham stated before in a gubernatorial campaign in last August. My question is this. The $6 million, I heard it was only 2 areas of the city, if I believe, or 2 sections. I heard 2 basins somewhere in the presentation. Where are they? And do we have a roadmap? Do we have a thing saying, this is the most priority, number 1 and number 2. These are the ones that needs to be addressed. Then we go down the list, 3, 4, 5. We do like a normal business does. You tackle the toughest problems first, and then you go down the line. We know how to finance things. I give credit to the city administration. We get low-interest loans. We pledge them against water and sewer revenue bonds. Water and sewer revenue. And it's not going before the voters. We're trying to lessen that impact that, like Mrs. Hill said, if we have to go to the voters one day and do a bond issue, we can do it and we can show we're financially responsible. My question is, what are the 2 basins?
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bayshore Drive. First, I'd like to thank everybody before me for bringing up these items. As I said earlier on the drinking water, I feel that applies to our sanitary system as well, that if we did have a problem, we would have an incredible number of hardships. Those hardships are not just, they run into also health issues. And what I did mention before is when you have either your drinking water, your sanitary system down, the impact that would have on your property values. We get known as the city that provides neither proper drinking water, has proper sanitary system. You could kiss away any premium that we might have on our property values, and which is far, far exceeds the dollar amounts that we're talking about. So let's please make that investment and make this secure for years to come, our city. Thank you.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street, Sunkist Grove. I'm just uncomfortable with authorizing the city manager and attorney to do all things necessary to implement this. I think that there should be more a safeguard put in here in terms of what is necessary to make this happen. Thank you.
Laura Hill, 13075 Griffin Boulevard. This issue is such near and dear to my heart. I'd like to invite each one of you to come to my house the next time the sewer overflows for a few days and wade through it up to your knees, and then only to discover you can't open your front door because if you opened it, a whole bunch of sewage will fly right into it. Because that was my experience with our decrepit and old sewer system that I've been complaining about since I bought my house. So I've walked through the nightmare that everyone's saying is going to happen eventually. Last week, I finished my last project. I had to remove the walls because guess what? The sewage came up my bathroom, up the toilet, up the bathtub, and overflowed into my floor, into my walls. I had to have my walls cut out. My beautiful, wonderful organic garden totally destroyed. And I had enormous expenses. But please know that there are people in the city who have already gone through the nightmare scenario that our whole city could face very soon. And I think this is the #1 priority that we have. It is absolutely a health hazard. It's absolutely disgusting. And it just makes you really, really feel like this city is not safe. So everything that comes before you to fix this system is of the utmost importance. And please, like I said, next time we have this problem, if we haven't already solved it, please come and walk with me through this sewage and the dead fish that comes up the storm drains and all of the terrible disaster that happens from neglected sewer pipes. Thank you.
All right, public hearing is closed.
I did have that question. Which are the two sewage basins that we're addressing first? You mentioned that in your report.
The two basins are Basin I and K Industrial. They have been identified via studies that have been completed by consultants for the city, identified as exceeding the infiltration rates that RER mandates.
So how does that affect the area that Ms. Hill is speaking of? Because there's homes. Is there a sewage basin there that needs to be fixed?
In a particular residence, for a particular resident address, I yield to you.
Through the manager.
I'm sorry, can you give the actual address,
Yes,
location for them?
So the I pump station is approximately northeast 124th Street and 18th Avenue. So it is the sewer system surrounding that area. K Industrial is 143rd and northeast 18th Avenue. So it's for the collection system surrounding that area as well.
So we have low-lying areas. What would be the sewage? Is this project, if we had a third and we did the situation Ms. Hill we had during the hurricane, is there a sewage basin? I mean, I don't know about your sewer systems really, but what I'm trying to say is we need to address our residents. They obviously have a big problem, and why isn't that being addressed in the priorities?
Through the studies that have been done, those basins have been identified as priorities. They have numbers far exceeding any other locations with infiltration and inflow.
So why didn't they have a problem during the storm and this?
Through the mayor, as was stated, it was a storm event.
I'm going to ask that this line of questioning not be done in public. Actually, you had a lawyer call me about your situation, so there is pending litigation.
Okay.
It's still pending litigation.
All right, are you going to accept your attorney's advice?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Pierre. But I'm still willing we need to go forward with as much as we can, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Go ahead.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve tab H. That motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 4-0. Tab L. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to issue purchase orders to PB Loader Corporation, utilizing the cooperative purchasing provision pursuant to section 7-169 of the city code on a contract awarded through Sourcewell at a cost not to exceed $192,275 for purchase of a 2017 Freightliner M2 106 chassis front end loader, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. That's tab L.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Alberto Estrade, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you under tab L is staff's request for your approval to issue a purchase order to the company named PB Loader Corporation for the city's purchase of a 2017 Freightliner front-end loader through the use of the National Purchasing Cooperative known as Sourcewell. As reflected in the council report submitted in support of the item, Sourcewell is a national purchasing cooperative which serves the needs of over 50,000 government, educational, and nonprofit organizations. The ability to access such a national cooperative program enables the city to benefit from a significantly larger pool of pre-qualified vendors and therefore from much more competitive pricing. This particular vehicle before you is greatly needed by our Public Works Department to replace an older 1999 model which has exceeded its useful life and to enable the department's stormwater division to carry out its duties as needed by the city. In addition, the vendor has agreed to sell this loader to the city at a significantly discounted price of approximately $25,000. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the city's purchase of this vehicle for use by our Public Works Department and issuance of a purchase order not to exceed $192,275 to PB Loader Corporation. With me here tonight in support of this item is the city's vehicle fleet manager, Mr. Jeff Geimer. In the event you have any questions regarding the operational needs and uses of this particular vehicle. This concludes my presentation of this item, and if there's any questions, we will be glad to take them. Thank you.
All right, we'll briefly open it to the public. Tab L, as in Larry, is open for public hearing. L, as in Larry.
Jessica Galston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. It would be helpful when the city departments are doing a presentation of equipment that they show a picture so we, the public, the taxpayers, know what they're talking about. Thank you.
Do you have a picture, Mr. Estrada? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, there's a copy here. I'll be glad to share it with the audience and pass it to you. Right here.
There you go. Public hearing is still open on the item, but I see no one coming to the mic, so public hearing is closed. Any further discussions on the dais?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve tab L. That motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 4-0. Tab N. Proposed ordinance, second reading of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, amending Volume 1, Goals, Objective, and Policies of the City of North Miami 2016 Comprehensive Plan, more specifically the future land use element. I'm sorry.
We're doing
Tab N.
N as in Nancy, okay.
I'm sorry. More specific. Should I start over or continue? Okay. More specifically, the future land use element thereof, in accordance with the requirements of Section 163-31843, Florida Statute 2018, and Chapter 29, Article 3, Division 11, Section 3-1102A, and Section 3-1105 through 3-11-1110 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances by amending the future land use element at policy 1.18.3 to provide for residential use within the Northwest 7th Avenue Planned Corridor Development Overlay, PCD, as is permitted within other planned corridor development overlays, and to require a conditional use permit to allocate density bonus units in the PCD, providing for an initial hearing and subsequent transmittal of the proposed amendment to the reviewing agencies and or any interested local government or governmental agency to review under the expedited state review process, governmental agency for review under the process, providing for an adoption hearing and subsequent transmittal of the proposed amendment as may be amended to respond to comments from the reviewing agencies to the state land planning agency for a determination of completeness, providing for repeal, conflict severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and for an effective date. That's tab N.
And then this is the second reading on this ordinance. Proposal, tab N. So we have some presentations by staff. This is second, so.
It's very quick.
Mm.
Again, this is second reading. First reading was on 2/26. We transmitted the amendment to the comprehensive plan to the state land planning agency. We received no comments, so we were very pleased with that result. It is going to do a number of things besides just adding residential. It clarifies the conditional use permit process, and it also formalizes the fact that all development in that Chinatown district will have to amend to the Chinatown design guidelines. We're going to, right after this, assuming you all adopt this, we'll transmit it back to the state for determination of completeness. It will become effective 31 days after the state determines that the package is complete. That's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
Thank you very much. The item is now open to the public for public hearing. Tab N as in Nancy.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street in Sunkist Grove. I stand to object to the mandate that the architecture within that area be relegated to a Chinese theme. Also, I'm not sure, I'm not an expert like all of you, but I want to make sure that the restricted uses are entered in here, which would exclude massage parlors, bars, casinos, a brothel, a nightclub, and strip club. Now, I don't know if that comes under the banner of residential use or whatever uses, but I would like to see a prohibition of those things I just stated: massage parlors, bars, casinos, brothel, nightclub, and strip club, a prohibition of that on that area.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Kevin Burns, 2065 Alameda Drive. If just for clarification, the Ms. Love made a comment that this would require that the redevelopment in that area conform to the motif of the Chinese theme, where I've heard numerous candidates over the last couple weeks, including the sponsor of this item, said that the Chinatown theme was done with, was not moving forward, that it is just to hold its place, to vie something to it. We're no longer doing those pagoda arches at 119th Street, that we weren't doing some of this stuff. This is stuff that's been saying by current and potential members of the council. If we can get a clarification, because I know there's a lot of resistance from the property owners who live there, who have no intention whatsoever of changing the design of their particular buildings. I'm supportive of anything for infrastructure, lighting, sewer, sidewalks, and so forth, not necessarily a fan of the Chinatown, but that's not for me to say at this time. However, if we can get a clarification that this is in fact going to require any new construction to have a particular theme. Thank you very much.
Okay, public hearing is closed.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a
Can I-
motion.
can-
I have a
what are we
motion made
approving?
by
We're not done
Councilman.
yet.
No, he wants to make
Second for discussion, and
Second for discussion.
Okay,
okay,
go
can
ahead.
you give us an explanation? Tanya is not here. Who's here? A quick explanation about tab O. What are we doing exactly?
And
Nancy.
and
Yes, can you?
Right. This is the second reading of the comprehensive plan amendment, adding residential into the PCD corridor overlay, as well as clarifying that density bonus units require conditional use permit. And third, it formalizes the design guidelines as they have to meet, the new development has to meet the design guidelines.
What is the design guideline?
The Chinatown design guidelines out of the Chinatown master plan.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
So, we have Chinatown design guidelines, Ms. Love.
Oh, I'm so
Excuse me, through the mayor.
My apologies. Yes, ma'am.
The requirements are not, or confirm that if someone develops in this overlay district, they don't have to have a Chinese motif, do they? Is that
Only in the
required?
Chinatown district.
But they have to have a Chinese motif?
It's the Chinatown design guidelines are in the Chinatown master plan.
The China-
That's mean any residential development will need to be in compliance with the Chinatown.
Remember, the
Mas-
residential is going to be a part of a mixed-use development, because currently it's commercial, and the PCD will now allow residential to allow mixed-use development to occur
We
there.
do understand the mixed-use development, but you said as part of the requirement, they need to meet the design of the Chinatown plan.
Aren't we bringing back the design criteria item?
Yes, sir, at
So
some point.
that is to be that's still to be determined by
Yeah,
this
that has to come back if we're not.
Yes.
I thought that it was, the Chinese motif was encouraged but not demanded.
Well, right now, the reason that we're formalizing it into the comp plan and the LDRs is because it isn't. And so we have nothing to hold anyone's feet to the fire to say, in the Chinatown district, you need to do something that fits in with that motif. It's more of a modern, it's not necessarily the pagoda style, but it's more a modern aesthetic. But those design guidelines that are currently in the master plan are very broad, and just talks about colors, talks about some of the architectural features, the doorways, the things like that. We're going to be bringing back more detailed design guidelines at some point in the future, but that's the reason that's currently in the code.
From what I understand,
Yes, sir.
when we are talking about Chinatown and try to bring investment to the 7th Avenue corridor, but now you are telling me that any development need to meet the Chinatown requirement when it comes to colors and design. That means it's gonna be a Chinese design when it comes to those constructions.
No, you will, let me just answer it in plain English. The design criteria, the detailed design criteria have not been brought to this council for consideration at all at this point.
We do understand that, but
Okay.
by approving this,
By
it
approving
seems
this,
like
you approved an acceptance of the master plan and the designation of that corridor. There were some broad themes that were in the master plan. That's all we're just concurring with that previous decision at this point. The detailed stuff we need to bring back, so you can decide to change it at a future point.
No, but at the
or-
same time, what we are approving, that's mean in order for someone to build like housing, residential, they need to meet those
broad-
Chinese requirement design that in your master plan. That means someone cannot just come and build whatever they want inside that district. When it comes to construction, I'm talking about if they meet all the requirements.
I get what you're saying. I can't sit here today and say how broad that is or how narrow that is. It could be something as easy as using yellow paint or red paint or some aesthetic, not necessarily a pagoda.
Right.
Landscaping. So again, we're concurring with the decision that this board is already, what we're stating is we're concurring with the master plan that you've already adopted as a board. And, you know, the most significant piece of this is the residential overlay
Right.
on the east side of 7th Avenue.
You won't be allowed to build a single-family home in that district, in that corridor.
On the east side.
Because it is C1.
No, we do understand that, but to allow residential, mixed-use residential, our point is someone cannot just come in by meeting the minimum requirements of the city, build mixed-use apartments and commercial in the city. In addition to that, they will need to meet the design look of the Chinatown.
Why don't we do this to make it easy for the board? Since I don't have the master plan right here in front of me to be able to say it's X, Y, Z, A, B, C. If you want to table this item and the companion item, but
I'll
again,
withdraw my motion to approve.
and then we can give you that specific information.
Because from what I always understand, I thought we are trying to bring investment, economic growth to the 7th Avenue corridor. At the same time, anyone can choose what type of design they want, whether it's a Chinese look design or any other European or whatever they please. But by doing so, it seems like you're going to allow residential, but at the same time, they're going to need to meet those design requirements of the Chinatown.
Can I try?
Mm-hmm.
This board voted on a Chinatown master plan. There are no design criteria. There's some broad talks about, that it's going to have a Chinese design, but there's no specific requirements right now. And when there are specific requirements, it'll be specific requirements that you all come up with. So it could be, the design could be as Chinese or not Chinese as you want it to be. It could be as Chinese as just have the nameplates are in Mandarin, but the rest of the building looks like Brickell if you want it to look like that. So that hasn't been decided yet. So the design criteria will come, but it will come from you. So it'll be whatever you want it to be. If you want pagodas, it'll be pagodas. If you don't want pagodas, it won't be pagodas. But that decision will still come to you with whatever input you get from the residents. So if you want it to look like Brickell and not like anything else, then it could look like Brickell. I mean, it really.
So where did this idea of massage parlors and brothels, and does that have anything to do with?
I think the speaker thinks that that's what Chinatown is about.
I thought really the purpose of these two items was strictly to allow residential units on the east side.
That is the main
So
purpose.
if we don't do this, east side of 7th Avenue, if we don't do anything, anybody building on the east side still is required to comply with the Chinatown overlay right now.
Well,
Yes, no?
here's the reality. The reality is right now you can build a 20-story building on the east side. I'm sorry, on the east side of 7th Avenue.
Without residential units.
Without residential use, and that essentially is an office building. And I mean, I don't know about you.
Who in these days do that anymore?
Who's building a
Nobody
20-story
do that
building
anymore.
on 7th Avenue?
Right.
Could we pass this without D? Does D need to be in there? Paragraph D? Development subject to guidelines? I mean, I would think if they're in that overlay, they're already subject to guidelines. Are they not?
You want to bring that back, just that piece?
I mean, I'm willing to table it. It's okay,
Just
but I'm
take,
just.
so then,
I'll move to continue the item.
Why don't we do that?
Clearly, this is not going to happen tonight. Move to continue to the next meeting, the city council, whomever is sitting
so
up
can
here.
you do N and O then? Because they're companion items.
I'll move to continue both N as in Nancy and O as in Opal.
Thank you, sir.
That's my mom's name.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilman Galvin to continue tab N and O. That motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 4-0. Okay. Tab P, proposed ordinance I have to go roll call. I have to do roll call. Okay. Tab P, proposed ordinance, second reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, providing for a text amendment to chapter 29 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances by amending Article 4, Division 2, entitled Zoning Districts, specifically at Section 4-202, entitled Types of Uses, to allow medical marijuana dispensaries as of right, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, correction of scrivener's errors, codification, and for an effective date. That's tab P.
Anything to say about that? No?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, Debbie Love, City Planner. This item is for second reading. It is to allow medical marijuana dispensaries to be permitted as of right. And it is going to actually match Florida statute that says you have to treat pharmacies for permitting purposes the same as you do medical marijuana dispensaries. So that is the purpose of the second reading before you today. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
Public hearing is tab P as in Paul or Peter, whichever one you like.
Mary.
But Mary.
Good evening, Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive. My first question is, are we going to do a district for this, or are we just going to have it along our major highways like NMB does on Northwest 2nd Avenue and 163rd Street, where you hit the marijuana dispensary before you hit the turnpike, okay? You line up before you, and then you go to McDonald's through the drive-in and have munchies, okay? Okay, that's number one. Are we going to limit where they're going and how they're going? I do not want to see the marijuana dispensaries across the street from William J. Bryant's, so the little kids can see their parents picking up the afternoon joint, okay? I think we need to have a discussion, an adult discussion, where these places are going, how we're going to zone them, and how many they're going to be in our city. We're not going to be the city of storage facilities, tarot card readers, and marijuana dispensaries. Low-end growth, the high-volume growth and revenues, but low growth, low paying jobs. Did you read the Miami Herald yesterday regarding about our income equity compared to Broward County and how we attract low paying tourist industry jobs? These are the questions we need to address, and marijuana is not going to solve this state's problems. This state has a lot of problems, and marijuana can help a little bit if we regulate it, we tax it, and we control it. Thank you.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street in Sunkist Grove. The reason why, Council, this is before you is because you are to show leadership and express the desire and will of the citizens, us who live in the city of North Miami, not do what you want to do. It's a safety hazard to have these, for you to approve, to have these dispensaries all over this city. The reason why it's here, then you have to approve it because you can say no. You can say no, we put our citizens first. No, we put our children first. We're going to protect our citizens and make a stand on the availability of this formerly known drug to everyone. I ask you to please protect our children and the citizens. Do not allow this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. If you read the title of the item, it says medical marijuana dispensary that you get with the prescription of a doctor. That's not Harry Carey. It's not your local nickel bag seller up on the corner that's going to be selling it out of the back of the car. That's not what this is. This is regulated by the state of Florida. It's regulated by the feds. It is what it is. Wait till Walgreens and CVS and all of them start dispensing it at their drugstores, which would be perfectly legal. It is a legal medical prescription that you get from a doctor, just like you would get your Xanax or anything else. So the fear is that people are not educated or aware of what medical marijuana, how it differs than what you get from your local neighbor down the street, nickel bags, dime bags, whatever they're called now. It's a totally regulated industry. Some of you on the council might be better aware of this than I am, but it is a medical necessity that's going to help a lot of individuals, and that's why the state has recognized to regulate it. That's why the feds are regulating it, and that's why the medical community is behind it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. Actually wasn't going to speak about this, but now that's been brought up. No, the point I wanted to bring was, is there a way, after hearing the comments, that was after the comments, I've been to, visited some of the dispensaries through Colorado, Oregon, and other places and such, which have generally been a very positive impression. Some of these places much cleaner and more attended to than many of our retail establishments here of various other sorts. Is there something that we can put in this? Again, they are legal places of business with a legal product. Is there something we can do in the zoning somehow where, in fact, either the appearance of it, the aesthetics of it, the presentation, the signage, the location, or anything else can be favorable to the city? Do we need to possibly table this to give that additional consideration, that there could be just some measures to put people's fears at rest, where we would be able to have it? We're going to try to accommodate this and should accommodate this, but that it be optimally presented, optimally accommodated. That would also be to the benefit of the business, rather than shoehorning in something and letting them drop the ball, for them to have the best shot at doing their business in the most respectable way. Just a consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Ian Bachakov with Ackerman Lofts at 98 Southeast 7th Street. I represent one of the state license holders that holds one of these licenses to be able to open up dispensaries in the state. And just for the record, I also live at 14951 Royal Oaks Lane, apartment 1202, North Miami. So I'm also a resident of this city. And so, hearing a lot of the comments from a lot of the public, it's a lot of fear, because it sounds like they just don't know what this is. It is medicine. You do need not only a prescription from a doctor, but a patient card. You need to get on a registry with the state, and frankly, just to even get into one of these dispensaries, you need to, you walk in and they check you and your ID to make sure you're on the state registry. Kids aren't going to be walking in and let alone even seeing any product. The state highly regulates this industry. There are many other cities in the state that allow it by right, which is what you guys are trying to do today. And, frankly, a lot of this, like people say, dime bags, nickel bags, it's already in the city. It's here, and the purpose of this is to regulate it and get it off the streets and only get it into the hands of people who really need it as a medicine. And so a lot of other cities, whether they have by right or approval processes, are allowing it. As a matter of fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I was representing another client in the city of North Miami Beach, 15100 Biscayne Boulevard, literally on the border of North Miami, and their mayor and council approved a dispensary location there. right on the border. So frankly, a lot of the residents of this location who have, or of this municipality who have that patient card, who have a doctor, are going to be going there to purchase their medicine. And that city is going to be the city that gets their tax revenues. That's the city that's going to be paying less to the police budgets because they're going to have less people on the street selling it and more people going to these dispensaries to buy it. And so this is, I think it's actually good to be able to regulate it in the city and collect these tax dollars.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing is still open, but I see no one, hear no one. It's therefore closed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move approval.
Thank you very much. And
I'd like to have a discussion, so I'll second for discussion.
yeah, okay.
So, I voted along with Councilman, we had originally a recommendation from Planning Commission and staff, to allow these, dispensaries with a special exception. The Florida law allows the medical dispensaries, but they have to be, from what I've been told, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Attorney, they have to be treated identical to pharmacies. So if we are going to put distance restrictions, we have to put, that means you can't have a Walgreens next to a school. You can't have it, you can't give these particular dispensaries, not recreational, but these medical dispensaries have to be treated identical to a pharmacy. So anything we put a restriction on with these dispensaries is also going to go to the pharmacies. One of the reasons I thought, well, let's just do it as a matter of right, I was kind of worried about companies like the big companies, Walgreens, CVS, Publix, or any other store that has a dispensary. I thought it was kind of an imposition to ask them to come and get a variance, a special exception to get this. But to do a distance waiver for all of these, that would be a bigger imposition because, you know, as soon as you have, like we said, as soon as we have a CVS, the Walgreens wants to go in, it would preclude a lot of our big pharmacies. So I would like to suggest that we go back to have at least some regulations and keep it as a special exception for the pharmacies and the dispensaries. That way we do have regulation. People can't just pop up willy-nilly and say, oh, I'm allowed. That way they will come to us. Yes, it's going to cost them a little bit of money, but I think it'll be worth it for them because they won't have 3 or 4 bootleg ones next door, and we can regulate it. So I would like to go back to special exception as just unregulated wherever we want them. I'm just a little bit afraid that they've already popped up on 123rd. I look at Dixie just lined up, 7th Avenue. I did a little research in Colorado, what they're doing, and they do have distance requirements, and they have requirements from schools. And unfortunately, the state of Florida is not going to allow that. So I would like, if we at least have a special exception, we know who they are, we know where they are, and they're going to be regulated.
Okay, thank you. If I may say something, I don't think we have people with different, walks of life with different types of medical problems. That's why they call it medical marijuana, not recreational marijuana. I remember a couple of years ago, I had a patient. Well, he's still my patient. He's a cancer patient. Whom I diagnosed about 5 years ago. He subsequently had a surgery in his spine. And this guy is in pain every day. He's a 40-something-year-old guy. I know him very well. And after he actually, about maybe 6-7 months ago, after I tried so many drugs, oxycodones, oxycontins, and everything that we have in our ammunition to abate pain, and this guy was in constant pain. So I ended up sending him by the way, it's not all doctors will be able to write for that. The recommend. It's not a prescription. It's a recommendation for that medical marijuana. And for a doctor to be able to write for it, you have to take so many hours of seminars, and I think the initial one is like 30 or something or 40 hours on this medical marijuana issue before you can actually write for it. In Miami-Dade County, we don't even have 20 doctors who can actually write for this. And but a doctor who's taking care of a patient who's ill and is in pain 24/7, how can you not offer them a technology or something that can help them? That would be medical malpractice, actually. And for us to say, as a local municipal body, to say we're going to stop people from doing and from offering a service that is well allowed by the state and by the feds too. So medical marijuana is not more toxic than vodka, and kids have they have access to vodka, brandy, and all types of alcohol. I get a shot every now and then, and but like the gentleman just said, I think it's a matter of education. We have to take the time to educate as a local government. It behooves us, to do. That's why last year, one of my quarterly luncheon was on medical marijuana. We had four experts who actually came in, and we had the chief of police from Miami Beach. I believe he just resigned, and we came. That was a very well spent 2 hours on medical marijuanas. What are the laws and what are our rights and responsibilities, as people living in this country. That's what makes this country so great. But marijuana is not that much of a bad thing. I've never tried it, but and it's not the same type of marijuana that we think people use, with THC and different types of ingredients that gives you different types of pleasure or different type of relief. So it is a good thing, but we just have to control it, but you can't stop it.
Yeah, I'm 1,000% in favor of medical marijuana. I am not trying to say no. It is so important. I mean, I believe it's very important for people who are sick, and I've had family members who really need it, and I'd like to get some from my back if I could. I mean, it's like this stuff is like, it's like a miracle drug. I don't want to stop it. I just want a little bit of regulation so the real, honest people, their dispensaries are there, and we just don't have a lot of bootleg. They're going up. I'm seeing them. They're popping up, and I just like a little bit of regulation. So that's my concern.
A quick question for the city attorney. Since this should be considered the same as a pharmacist, are the same regulations going to apply to Walgreens, to CVS, and anybody? Those regulations that you're talking about?
They would be grandfathered in for those who are.
If I can go back, as Councilwoman said, just so everyone understands, right now we're in violation of state law. State law says you have to treat pharmacies like you treat dispensaries, and right now this city does not. So the reason this is before you is not because we're saying, hey, it'd be great to bring some dispensaries to the city. It's because we're trying to rectify an issue that we're in violation of state law. Right now, our code says if you're a pharmacy, you can build anywhere. If you're a pharmacy with a drive-through, you have to get a special exception. Our code, our LDR says in terms of dispensaries that you have to get a special exception. So because there's a discrepancy between how we treat pharmacies and how we treat dispensaries, we came and said, let's treat them all the same way. Let's ask for special exceptions for everything, whether it's drive-through, no drive-through, dispensary, not dispensary. What you all decided was to change that to make pharmacies or dispensaries with a drive-through have to go through a special exception. So that's what this council did on first reading, which is what's before you now.
Mr. Mayor, may I? And I get so tired of people who try to use their morals to put legislation on other people. That's what I think a lot of the complaints that I heard tonight were. I get it, you don't like liquor. I get it, you don't like other types of uses. When it's legal, it's legal. Nobody got upset when Navarro opened with a pharmacy, when Target opened with a pharmacy, when Walgreens and CVS opened in this city with a pharmacy, when Publix has a pharmacy. I would argue that opioid use is a far greater concern in this community, in this city, in this state, in this country than medical marijuana. Medical marijuana is legal. It is useful to those who are in need, and shame on the city of North Miami if we make one more person suffer because we wanted to get all high and mighty and moral. As a person who wasn't able to marry anybody, who still is not allowed to give blood because of moral judgments on my life, I will not sit up here and be in moral judgment of other people when it comes to illegal use. That's why I'm sponsoring this and hope that we'll approve it this evening.
Let's go for a vote.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab P. That motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All
I think it's
opposed?
a roll, is it roll call? Roll call.
Yeah. Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
No.
Vice Mayor Bien-Aimé, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Joseph, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Item passes 3-0.
3-1.
3-1, I'm sorry, I apologize, 3-1.
She really wants to put you in.
Tab Q, discussion regarding Miami-Dade County League of Cities Board appointment.
Who was to be appointed?
Can I appoint Carol Keys to the board?
Okay. I said I would accept it.
I'll second that nomination.
Thank you.
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Bien-Aimé to appoint Councilwoman Keys to the board. That motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 4-0.
Oh.
Citizen Forum.
That's it. Citizen Forum is now open.
Laura Hill, 13075 Griffin Boulevard. I came here tonight because I wanted to implore the council to look at their board appointments, attendance records. There's a few boards in the city that regularly meet, and when they don't reach quorum, they waste everybody's time and money. Lately, the Board of Adjustment specifically has not met for lack of quorum several times, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when people take the time to buy a plane ticket to come out here for their hearing, and we have to tell them that we don't have enough people to hear them out. In that case, I'm guessing we have to pay for re-noticing again. I believe it's been 4 years since I've been on Board of Adjustment. I've never missed a meeting, because when you take this appointment, you take on the responsibility of showing up consistently. And a lot of times it's inconvenient to the applicants, and it's expensive to the applicants because they can't be heard for another month or sometimes 2 months. It's also inconvenient for the other people on the board. As you know, I have small children, and when I know I have a board meeting, I have to get childcare for my children, and only to be coming back home because we couldn't serve our purpose. Everybody who takes the position of a board member needs to take it seriously and show up. But it is also the job of the council to make sure that their appointments are fulfilling the job duty. And I know that everybody has a life and everybody has issues, and from time to time, you can't make it. But we need to be open for business in this city, and part of that is allowing applicants to file for their Board of Adjustment hearings and have the opportunity to be heard. So I know we're going to have a lot of changes after the election, perhaps, but keep in mind that we also need the council to be looking through the meeting minutes and seeing about attendance. Thank you very much.
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. On that similar issue, I had attended one of the Board of Adjustment meetings, of which there were 4 members of the 7 who had attended, and yet the quorum was 5. And we were paying for attorneys, and the people had shown up. It was a one-item agenda, and there we were for at least a half hour, if not 45 minutes, and nothing came of it and had to get rescheduled. It was truly a sad moment knowing that the 4 people that were there, if they had their decision, could have made the decision on this item had it been presented. So I agree completely with Citizen Laura Hill that if we could re-examine these, the boards. One quick measure might be that, if I understand it properly, on some committees, there are one commissioner may have 2 appointees, and one may have 1, and one may have 2, and so on, and there's that large. Why don't we, as a minimum, we have 5 seats, have at least everyone have 2 appointments per committee. Some of the people could be alternates or excess, but let's try to bring in the participation first off, and let's make it so that these items are never canceled for lack of support by possibly one individual. So thank you for considering that. The other item regarding the medical dispensaries, my sort of query was, yes, I know it's medical and everything is kind of fine and it's kind of tight-laced. Looking ahead, those very same establishments, if recreational marijuana usage is approved at some later date, they will probably be one of the first to take that on. That was my reason for thinking that should we wish to have a little bit of a buffer from the schools or any other measures to be taken, that might be a consideration.
All right.
Thank you.
Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive. Mr. Prevotel, that was my concern too. I have a script for marijuana. I choose not to take it because they interfere with the drug I take every night at 11 p.m. Okay? I just want, and Mr. Prevotel is right, California went with first medical marijuana, and then they went to legalize the whole stuff. When we do legalize the whole stuff, which I'm in favor of, we need to regulate it, control it, tax it, and make sure that it's not on every street corner. Okay? Just like Starbucks do. Go to the Netherlands and look at how they regulate marijuana. Here are my dreams for the city of Progress before I pass away, and I hope I live as long as my Irish-born grandmother. We have a modern water and sewer system where we replace all the water main pipes and our secondary pipes. By replacing the pipes, we can attract real business entities in all our business districts throughout our city by smart growth and economic policies. That the city of North Miami has 2 commuter rail stations in our city, one at Northeast 14th Avenue and 123rd Street, our transit overlay district or transit visit, that links the downtown district and Johnson and Wales University, one of our higher educational partners, and the other one at Northeast 151st Street and Biscayne Boulevard, which helps to solely meet the court systems or high schools there, or K-8 school, and other higher institutes in this city, FIU. We renovate our existing parks and community centers at Keystone Point, Gwen Margulis, Griffin Park, Sunkist Grove, and Franklin Field. And we renovate our top lots at Breeze Swept and Sunkist Grove. We build new parks at Cagney Park North, Solimie, just like a state-of-the-art facility over at Pepper Celestine. And we expand our existing facilities at Pepper and Celestine. And my last dream, we expand our library system here in North Miami to three branches. Thank you.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street in Sunkist Grove. I stand here to address the matter of Denmark, which is located on 7th Avenue, which is on the outskirts of Sunkist Grove. I would just like to remind you council members that you are there to represent the interests of the citizens of the city. Recently, someone said, You cannot create economic development here because of the people we have in this area, referring to Sunkist Grove. So I propose a suggestion. I would like the property there used maybe partially as a library / entrepreneurial business incubator center, where the library services would be extended to the west side, as well as entrepreneurial classes can be offered to the residents, as well as incubator services where their businesses can use office space for development. I would like to see this happen. This would benefit our whole city as well as the residents in Sunkist Grove. It's time to use city funding to help its residents and its citizens. Please, let's use Denmark partially for a library, entrepreneurial incubator, business center. Please, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Kevin Burns, 2065 Alameda Drive. I wanted to say, Mr. Mayor, congratulations. This may be your last official council meeting between now and the election. Congratulations to your term. You had the unique position of serving 5 years, and nobody else has ever done that. Congratulations. Other members of this council are up for election. Hopefully it works out the way that you want, and this may be your councilman, this is your last official as a council person for District 3. Thank you for everything that you've done in that district. You should be very proud of your accomplishments in that particular district. Scott, words can't say enough. You're just always there and really a beacon of light for this community. Carol, you're almost termed out, 2 more years. Just keep fighting, and don't remember who put you here and what they put you here and what faith the community has in you. Something other real quick. You all may or may not know, and this is for the administration, the city of Bal Harbour has bought a piece of property in the North Miami Industrial District to relocate their public works department, which is great. But at the same time, there is development because of the industrial park where new buildings are being built and where an office building is going up right next door to their public works site. We need to start addressing or now about making new screening. Bal Harbour's going to park their garbage trucks and their public works maintenance. We also have a multi-million-dollar office building that submitted plans today or tomorrow going up right next door, so we're going to have to start screening it out. Also in the Florida legislature, they just are passing a rule, but it's too late for Bal Harbour, is that any municipality that wants to buy land in another municipality must get approval from that city council to purchase that property, because it now comes off of your tax rolls and other things. We don't want to be known as the public works department for every other city in the community. Again, congratulations to all the members of the council for your successes that you, again, in the time and the effort that you've put forward, and and to thank your families and for allowing you to share your time with us. We may not seem grateful at times, but you do all have our appreciation for at least making the effort, putting yourself out there, and trying to make North Miami a better community. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. I'm not going to be as quite complimentary as the previous mayor, just to let you all know before I start. Many years ago, I called this our house. I do not feel that this has been our house for several years. It is our house. the residents. Cinco de Mayo is coming up. I celebrate it every year because May 5th is very special to me. I came to this country on May 5th, 60 years ago, this year. So I will be celebrating my 60th anniversary in the United States, the greatest country in the world. When I came here, I'd like you all to know, to get my visa, after my health exam in Ireland, I had a cavity, one cavity. I had to have that taken care of before my visa would be issued. That's the way it was. It should go back to that. Okay. I'd like to ask our city manager and city council, what is happening with 126th Street right across from the old Wells Fargo building? You can barely get through there in the mornings and the afternoons with all the traffic backing into the street by the Johnson & Wales property. It's a disgrace. We did have signs many years ago again that said no parking. They're still there, but it's not enforced. We have maybe 50 cars or vehicles parked there every day. Every day. I brought it to the attention to some people, but I believe we're waiting for Johnson & Wales to do something. I don't think the residents should have to wait for Johnson & Wales to take care of our problem. Thank you.
All right. Citizen forum is closed. Any reports from the dais?
Just want to make sure everybody, remind everybody we have the e-waste green awareness fair, and we have a cleanup this coming Saturday at the Ben Franklin Park. Bring all your recyclables, your shredding, your e-waste, and bring your family. We have all kinds of refreshments and games, and we have a lot of giveaways. We're giving away a lot of, I think, over 100 trees, so everybody come on out Saturday afternoon.
The only report that I have is to encourage the city manager to change, to postpone that community meeting, the workshop about Griffin Community Center. Now everybody is on talking about different issues. If we can postpone that until after the election, so everybody will be more comfortable to
get it done,
to have the input in that community center. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to sort of echo what a couple of the other speakers said. It has really been a true honor to serve alongside all of you. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. I certainly hope this isn't my last council meeting, but should it be, it has been the honor of my life to be up here serving the residents and my friends of my hometown. Mayor Joseph, you have been a steady leader and a very respectful and respected voice in our community. You came in at a time of great upheaval, and I appreciate, having sat up here for so many council meetings, I appreciate the steady hand that you have brought to our city, and want to say thank you. And Councilman Bien-Aimé, I certainly hope, again, saying some of the same things. You've always been smart up here. You've been dedicated to the issues that come before us. And it's just a wonderful thing to see how you've embraced the community. The community has embraced you for the last several years. Councilwoman Keys, I'm not leaving you out, but you'll be up here when maybe the rest of us won't be in a couple of weeks. But to all of you, I just say thank you.
When it comes to Mayor Smith-Joseph, and I want to talk about him at another meeting because we have two more, May 14 and May 28. Then we'll be able to talk about Dr. Smith-Joseph.
I just want to say, I'm remiss, I'm not the flowery one up here, but I do want to thank you all, because Mayor, you've given us all respect. It's been great serving. Councilman Bien-Aimé, you've been a good friend. You've met with our community. You've understood the issues, so I appreciate that. Councilman Galvin, you've been here, you've been helping, you've helped me with my district, and, yeah. Hope to see you all in a couple weeks, and a few weeks after that, and a few weeks after that.
You have two more council for Scott.
Okay.
And hopefully.
Trust me, I'm not
we'll
going
get
anywhere.
to-
I'm going to be up here another
thank
4
you.
years.
I don't want,
Me
I don't
also.
want any of you to think I'm not appreciative, because it's been a great council up here, so thank you.
Okay.
Well, it's been a very great. I mean, I think I've had a very great time here. This is my first elected seat, and I came here not knowing anything about being a mayor, about city government and so forth. But through listening to you guys and your cordial way of being, and we laugh sometimes and we learn from each other. Of course, we do disagree a lot, but we do control our disagreement and not let it be shown as people who don't know how to behave. And we've been doing very well, I believe. And I think the community, the city of North Miami, has been, lucky, to really have us, as a body, as a governing body. We are not saints, and we are not perfect. And the mayor said earlier that sometimes it may show that they don't care, but in fact, they do appreciate, what we do. The 3, 4, 5 hour meetings that we have, we could have been spending them with our loved ones at home, but this is the road we chose. We chose to be here. And sometimes, we constituents come in and try to disrespect us, because they feel that just talking out of emotion or trying to slander people is what's going to make things work. No. Sometimes being kind, voices your concerns with a smile will go far, 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 as opposed to coming and looking at people at where they're from. Yes, I am from Haiti, but I do not carry Haiti on my back. I am a United States of America citizen, and I am proud of it. And I am very proud to have served with you, Scott. You're not going anywhere. I'm very proud to have been able to serve with you, Attorney Keys, and BNMA. We go way back, so everything, and I wish you, I know you are going through a very tough battle, and there is a reason why I stay away from I go above the fray, and you are fighting a good fight. Just keep fighting, and North Miami will eventually benefit, from all of this. Thank you very much for allowing me to serve you, and like you said, I may be able to serve in 2 other meetings.
Or 3.
2 other meetings, or 3. But it's been very good, overall. So, and I've been able to serve with a lot of people, wonderful people, very astute guys from the administration. So, especially the chief of staff. She's my idol. Thank you very much. All right.
Move to adjourn. Oh, wait, they have.
Nothing.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. We've done good.